Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be answering your Ryu questions. So a few days ago, I asked you guys to send me in your questions about Ryu. I thought it's a good time to do that since the new patch came out. So you guys sent in your questions under this post, and I'll be answering every single one here to my best ability. So we're going to start off with Elfantic. He asks, what combos are optimal when you don't have drive? Well, let me show you those combos. Well, Ryu has a lot of combos that he could use. I'm gonna set Ryu to have 0 drive gauge, even though I could just, not spend drive. But I'm gonna show you exactly what to do here. So if we're talking about solar plexus combos, there's so many you could go for. But let's say we go for this one. 2260 damage, and with 1 dash, that's all you get. You get 10 frames of advantage. What combo did I do here? Solar plexus, crouching medium punch, heavy DP. This is the distance we have away from our opponent. Let's do the same thing, but with medium tatsu. 1910 damage, 4 frames of advantage, but take a look at the corner carry and look how close I am to my opponent. I could sneak in a little micro walk and continue the pressure. That's a big difference. For solar plexus enders, you could also go for a donkey kick, but I don't suggest it. If you're gonna go for something like this, go for heavy DP, because you actually don't get much frame advantage here, and you're pretty far from the opponent, and you also get more damage from heavy DP. So I don't suggest dashing up. If you're gonna end up going for it, let's say the opponent is too far, for example, like here, that's a good spot to go for it. Let's say he is somewhere here, that's too far. You see, DP would have whiffed here. We get a Denjin Charge, and we could spam fireballs. Now for punish counter combos, the most optimal thing you could go for is this. With heavy DP, you get 3000 damage. But you wouldn't want to go for that if you're mid-screen. You want to increase your corner carry and your Oki to continue pressure. Take a look at that. I'm close enough to continue pressure. Now if I'm in the corner, what would I want to do? This combo. This is the most optimal thing to do in the corner. This is a back heavy punch combo. Heavy kick, back heavy punch, light DP after heavy donkey kick. So if we're talking about Denjin Charge, we could go for these combos. Look at that corner carry, look at that frame advantage, you're in a perfect spot. But let's say you don't want to go for that, and you want to go for, I don't know, donkey kick. Here, you Denjin Charge, but I don't really recommend doing that in most cases. What you could also go for is, in the corner, you'd be surprised that Denjin Charge isn't in fact optimal here. So, if we do this, this is not as optimal as just going for this. The previous one did 3550, this does 3690, so don't go for that. Maybe if you want to spend a level 1, for instance, you could go for this. Look at that, that does more damage. So it's up to you to decide a lot of things, but I'm showing you some use cases for that, some situations that you could apply these combos for. Again, as I said, things are always different. There's so many spots that you could use different things. Going for heavy DP does the most damage. Donkey kick, when you're too far, I guess, from the opponent and you can't hit your heavy DP, because both of them don't do corner carry or even Oki, which is, the distance after the knockdown. I suggest following these tips and you will find the optimal combos. Okay, moving on. Our next question comes from Eat Doll, and he asks, what are the best bread and butter combos now and setups with the new update? So essentially, bread and butter combos are combos that you go for often, things that are reliable, things you use frequently in matches, and there's a lot of those, and I showcase some that don't use drive gauge. I will show you guys some that do, and there are a lot of setups that you can use with Ryu, some that are more useful now with the new patch. Some combos that you could go for are, with drive gauge, you could go for this. If you're trying to hit confirm your heavy punch, you could go for the Oki, or you could go for, of course, the DP version. I'm not going to specify this every time because I think you guys now understand the difference between DP and medium tatsu. If you do want to maximize on the damage and spend resources, you could go for the micro walk version, like this. And guess what? There's an even more optimal version of this combo. The most optimal combo in the game is this now. Isn't that crazy? You could go for a crouching medium kick combo. You could go for this. And guess what? This does the exact same damage as this. So do what's to your liking. There's also, for example, if you're doing solar plexus combos, same thing. You would go for this route. If you're going from a drive impact, guess what? What's the most optimal combo here? This, not this. The other combo I think does 10 more damage. And again, if you're from drive impact, if you want to spend bar, you would go for the solar plexus combo because the follow-up of the heavy kick does less damage. Let's say we're going for a stun combo in the corner. We can set Luke to be burnt out. I will make him block because they usually try to block the drive impact. So if you have full bar or almost full, you can go for this combo. That's as much you can go for when you're trying to get a stun combo. If you have level 2, there are many combos you could go for. Make sure to start with the level 2. And depending on how much drive gauge you have, you could go for many follow-ups. You could go for this, for instance, or maybe this one, for example. Or maybe you want to spend a little less drive gauge, but also want to spend the super. I recommend doing level 3, but look at that. So there are many different ways you could use level 2, maybe with level 1 as well. Again, I recommend doing the full level 3 combo because it does more damage. I think I didn't mention in my first question, you could do a 0 bar stun combo like this. This is the most optimal thing to do if you don't have any bar. If you want to spend maybe only 2 bars, you could go for this. Let's say you're trying to go for combos after the opponent blocks a drive impact. You could go for this. If they're blocking, you can hit a level 1 super. If they block the drive impact, I mean. Or you could go for this. Also, you can also not cancel until level 3. Just go for that. If you want to spend 3 bars of drive gauge, you could also go for this, which someone pointed out in the YouTube comments, which is a great combo you could do. You could also just go for the standard, or this to get a safe jump setup. So if you're trying to get a safe jump setup, anything that juggles with that ends with heavy donkey kick is gonna end up in a safe jump. So for instance, if you go for something like this, this comes with a safe jump, and if you're close enough, you can take advantage of it. So I could do it here. And you could make very good use of that. Okay, I think that's enough combos for now. I showed a lot. Obviously, I could do this forever, but this would not be great for a video. It would be too long. So I hope you found those combos useful, and now it's time to show you the Ryu setups. So there are a lot of Ryu setups, and one that's been recently discovered with the new patch is this one, which is very, very useful. You can get +2 frame advantage, and it's great as you can continue your pressure afterwards. There's some other setups that I could show you. For instance, if you end a combo with medium donkey kick, you can put a light kick and then a light fireball, and you get +1 frame advantage, and you can continue that. It's very useful. Another really useful setup that you guys can use can be done after any juggle combo that ends with light DP. So this combo ends with light DP. And if you do the setup correctly, you'll get a +2 medium punch. For context, a regular medium punch is -1. So if you do this setup after any juggle combo that ends with light DP, you will get a +2 medium punch, which is great. The easiest setup by far on this list is this one. Anything that ends with medium Tatsu, you can time a meaty fireball, light fireball, to get +3 frame advantage. You time it as soon as they hit the ground, you do the fireball, and you get +3. Pretty cool, huh? A very useful setup on this list that takes advantage of the new light Hashogeki buffs is anything that ends with heavy DP. So if you do any combo that ends with heavy DP and do this setup exactly, you will get a 2-frame advantage if you time it just right. If you want to take advantage of the light Hashogeki buffs, go for this setup because it's +2 on block. And if you see your opponent back rising, go for this setup with solar plexus because it's +1 on block. If you want to confuse your opponent, mix them up, and also get a safe jump setup, watch this. Take a look at that. Big damage. If they recover backwards though, you won't get a cross up, but you will still mix them up. Because that's still a safe jump setup. And you punish them hard. For now, these are all the setups that I could think of. Time for the next question. Elfantic is here with another question, asking for tips to improve corner pressure. This is a really interesting question, and one that a lot of beginner players have trouble dealing with. It's corner pressure. How do I keep my opponent in the corner, and how do I pressure them? Well, a lot of you might expect, yeah, you should probably keep, hitting them on block, go for, I don't know, positive buttons like, or, special moves like Hashogeki, maybe raw drive impact to catch them, not reacting, go for safe jump setups, all that. But guess what? What is on your opponent's mind at this very moment? They want to escape the corner. That's the first thing they would want to do. So keep them in the corner. Stay away for a little bit. Try to catch them jumping. Just like that. You see? You're not going to be very patient. Try to punish them for that, That's exactly what you need to do. Stay on your toes for offense, but as well for defense. Go back a little bit to catch them jumping. Even if they don't jump at first, be patient. Maybe throw a little bit of fireballs like this. Maybe they'll be staying back a little bit. Maybe if you throw a lot of fireballs, they'll decide to drive impact. You can drive impact them back. There's a lot that can be done here, but this is the general game plan. Next question is from PT No Pot. DI timing on heavy punch seems super consistent when they DI late. Sometimes my counter DI turns into target combo. Sometimes counter DI comes out instantly. Oh, I see. That's exactly what you were saying. It's because I did it really late. You kind of have to cancel it in an acceptable window. Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm doing heavy punch and heavy kick at the same time, but because I think I'm out of the cancel frames of the heavy punch, I'm not getting it. But when I do it instantly, it works. The only reason for that, PT No Pot, when you do the cancel really late, it just won't come out because the button ran out of cancel frames. The only solution to that is canceling on time, quickly. That's just a thing in the game. I think the key takeaway here is try to go for easier buttons to convert from. Star Emperor asks, what combos are optimal and suboptimal when drive bar is available? Full bar, not full bar. Well, Star Emperor, I think we answered that in a previous question. I've done a lot of combos with no bar and with a lot of bar. Suboptimal combos would not be useful to you because you would never want to do a combo that's not optimal in any situation. So avoid that. But try to do the combos that I showcased in this video, and I think you will find them very useful. Man of Dapper asks, with the new buffs to Hashogeki, are there more instances where you'd rather charge Denjin for the possibility of a more damaging combo later after a knockdown than go for Oki? As a follow-up question, are there certain matchups where you value Denjin more? This is an excellent question. Thank you for asking that. Yes, there are spots where I'd rather get Denjin Charge than Oki. For instance, sometimes I barely damage my opponent in the match, and I'm in the corner. Let's say I go for this combo that ends with heavy Tatsu. What could I go for here? Well, I could either go for Oki and do drive rush and continue pressure, or I could do this. For the most part, I go for this option because I do want to maximize damage later or use Denjin Charge in general. At this point, I would start micro-walking towards the opponent, trying to get close. If they have fireballs, try to block them, walk and block. And once I get the chance, obviously, I try to spend it. Just like this, get a high damage combo in, and make use of the Denjin Charge. Now for the follow-up question, are there any matchups where I value Denjin more? I think in this game it's kind of rare. Let's take a look at the character list because I do forget. Luke You do use Denjin Charge, not that much. I think you do use it against characters that you kind of want to zone. Like, I think Marissa is a good choice to use Denjin Charge a lot. Manon, Kimberly maybe, Jamie. Kimberly no, because she can slide and teleport. So no. Jamie a little bit. Zangief for sure. Characters like JP, for instance, you'd be kind of hard. It would be kind of hard to get Denjin Charge, especially with Guile, for instance. Guile is insanely hard to get Denjin Charge with, and it's a very tough matchup for Ryu as a result. So yes, there are some matchups where I slightly value it more, but it doesn't make a big difference because usually it's kind of hard to find the time and place to use Denjin Charge. Aztec Fighter is asking, what is the best button to control neutral? I seem to always go for crouching medium kick, but it gets stuffed, that and standing heavy punch. Well, crouching medium kick is a good button, it has a lot of reach, but it's kind of slow. That's its problem. And sometimes when your opponent throws drive impact, when you try to press drive impact back, the window to cancel from crouching medium kick can be kind of tricky. So you might want to avoid it slightly. You could still use it in neutral, but standing heavy punch, in my opinion, is a great button. It also has good reach. It's faster than crouching medium kick as far as I remember. And it's very hit confirmable. That's very useful. And I really do use standing heavy punch for whiff punishes. It's a great way to control neutral. You could see your opponent whiffing something and use standing heavy punch to counteract and maybe cancel into drive rush to get a nice big damage combo. And with the new buff, you could cancel standing heavy punch into EX Denjin Charge Hashogeki if you can, because it's very hit confirmable. But in my opinion, there's another button that's kind of slept on in the Ryu army, and that is standing medium kick. Take a look at that button. I started doing it pretty far, and as you can see, he walks forward as he does it. It has a lot of reach. It can interrupt opponents if they're walking forward, if they're throwing fireballs. It's great. It really does control space. You could just throw it out. And it's hard to deal with. It's kind of fast. If they're blocking, look at the frame advantage. Where is? Let's set them to block all. It's -4. That's not punishable from here. Look at that. It's amazing. It's very far. It's not punishable. So you can just keep throwing that out. It's really safe. But it's also really useful when you're trying to whiff punish. So let's set Luke to do this. And as you can see, from pretty far away, I was able to whiff punish that. Here it didn't combo. So the range is tricky, but you could make it work in a lot of instances. So that's really good. You could also use sweep. Crouching heavy kick is a great tool to whiff punish. You see that punish counters here? When it punish counters, you can know for sure that it whiff punished. So this is also a great button to control neutral. Crouching heavy kick or sweep. Standing heavy punch is a great way to whiff punish. And as you can see, I snuck in a little micro walk. And there you go. And if you have Denjin Charge, you could go for a beefy combo. Catch them whiffing buns. Not on my watch. And you get a big damage combo. So make sure to use heavy punch, sweep, standing medium kick. These I think are the best. Standing heavy punch probably the most, just because the idea of being able to cancel into drive rush and get some damage, or even, this, which does even more damage now and is the most optimal, as we mentioned before. So make sure to always, try to find the best spot to use these normals. Ken Guillermo's asking, Ryu Oki Options or a guide please. So in this video we've already covered some Ryu Oki Options, but I'll go over them again and give you a little summary. In general, Ryu's Oki game is pretty simple. It comes from his Tatsu game, and if you end any combo with medium Tatsu or light Tatsu, you'll get as much Oki as possible. So if you do light Tatsu here, as I mentioned before, you can get a +2 light Hashogeki here. And if you're in the corner and do medium Tatsu into light fireball, you get positive fireballs that are safe. And you can also, combo afterwards here. Just like that. Now, in general, you don't want to go for heavy Tatsu unless you're trying to switch sides. Because look at that, that's really far away. So it's not for Oki. You've got to use Drive Rush. And that's the same for medium and light. You could also extend your Oki game by using Drive Rush. Usually Drive Rush is the best way to give yourself Oki when you don't really have it. But keep that in mind that you're spending bars here. So let's say you're not. With medium Tatsu, you'll be this close to your opponent and have 4 frames of advantage. You could hit your opponent and continue your combos. Or you could kind of sneak in a little micro walk. That will be safe if you time it correctly. Same thing with the light kick. And yeah, it's pretty simple. If you go for things like heavy DP, you won't have as much Oki. As you can see, look at the distance that I'm here. That it's so far. Same thing with donkey kick. This is as much Oki as I can get. So that's why Drive Rush is used to extend your Oki. But for the most part, if you don't want to spend bar, go for the Tatsu combos. Arsum977 asked a really interesting question. Is there any situation where Hashogeki is a viable anti-fireball tool? Well, let me tell you, I've been testing this out ever since the game came out. June 2023, I've been in neutral, away from my opponent, trying to counter those fireballs. And let me tell you, I had almost 0 success. It really is hit or miss. Depends on the fireball pattern that they're going for. Light, heavy, medium, light, medium, heavy. It's very random. There's no consistency to it. It doesn't work when you're up close. You have to be really far. And if they alternate with faster fireballs or go for EX, you're screwed. So in summary, it's not really great. For example, if you try it out with Luke, it's almost impossible because he can make his fireballs whiff. And he could go for the fast EX fireballs that can kill you, and he can also do the heavy fireballs which hit you instantly almost. So it's really hard to counter, but I'll show you an example. Some of them you might see will work, but for the most part it's not a great idea to do. Usually I would recommend doing this maybe if you're about to get chipped and burnout. That's the only way I could recommend it. But for the most part, if you have meter, try to perfect parry because that's the best solution. Let's do it. You're gonna try to react to what he does. You see, he baited that. I set the dummy to, you know, have a light punch every now and then to bait it. But you see, it's very hard. If you want to do it on reaction, that's what you're trying to do. You can't be doing it randomly because you're gonna get hit. You see, he baited it again. That's risky. Really hard to do. You see, that worked 3 in a row. But you see, I threw it in preemptively. It would work sometimes, but for the most part, you don't want to go for that. What you do want to go for is maybe a perfect parry into like a dash up like this. And maybe, okay, it doesn't punish every time, but here, I got him. And that's the best thing you want to go for. Now, you want to know a really interesting case where light Hashogeki can be useful, but honestly, I've done it so many times, and maybe it worked once in all of these tries. Is this using light Hashogeki to bait a fireball attempt from me to make them parry so I can throw them out of it. Take a look at this. Okay, that doesn't work. I'm trying to demonstrate how it would look like. So basically what I'm trying to replicate here is that they're reacting to my light Hashogeki with a parry input, and I'm drive rushing to throw them out of it so I can get a punish counter. It maybe worked once with me, and usually they don't fall for it, and most of the time I get jumped in on, so it's kind of unlucky. Like this, I get jumped in like this, and I could show you, I could be like, and I just get hit every single time. So I suggest not going for it much. Our final question of the video comes from Gamer B. What do I do with standing medium kick and crouching heavy punch? Seems to be useless moves. Well, I beg to differ, my friend. These moves are not useless at all. And I've mentioned previously in the video how important it is to use standing medium kick. It's great at whiff punishing. It has long reach. On block, it's not punishable. It's just a perfect move that's really hard to deal with. Look at that. -4, and you can't reach me at all here. Great for whiff punishing when someone throws out something, as I demonstrated before. But the next question that comes from the crouching heavy punch, use it as an anti-air. If you don't know how to do DPs, use it as an anti-air. It's great. It works 99.9% of the time. So yes, it's great, and you would definitely want to use that with Cammy, because Cammy does her cannon strike. I forgot the name. So against Cammy would be really useful because it's kind of hard to DP the cannon strike. So it's kind of useful. Like, it's still kind of hard to do, but it does work if she does the slower versions. I mean, you kind of do catch her out of it. But I'm doing it as soon as she jumps. That's not too bad. It's still a great anti-air. Let me try to delay it. Yeah, you can get clipped while you're doing it. But for the most part, it's a great anti-air. And I think you should use it if you're having trouble doing DP anti-airs. Crouching heavy punch is also the best punish after perfect parry. You want to use it for this. You see? It's really useful. It's the best punish. Look at that. Safe jump. Boom. Anyways, guys, crouching heavy punch and standing medium kick are great buttons that you should be using. Each have their own uses. Crouching heavy punch for anti-airs and perfect parry punishes. Standing medium kick for neutral in general. And whiff punishing as well. So make sure to use those. And if you enjoyed this video and found it useful, please like this video and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.